Welcome back, guys. So we've got some real interesting new... Are you not going to introduce me as well? No? I wasn't going to introduce another version of me. Why would I do that? But anyway, I'm Scottejaye. So is he, apparently. Now we've got the awkward introductions out of the way, we've got news that hints towards mage boosting being squashed, and even the mages will always find a way. Or there'll be a way to boost. They can add debuffs, they can do whatever they want. The community will find a way to ruin the game. Well, not ruin it. But I don't know what this guy's problem is. What is your problem? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, mage boosting being squashed, and then possibly, and I say possibly, hardcore officially getting some form of support in the classic season of Mastery. There's another couple of bits regarding XP which we're going to talk about as well, but we'll jump into that soon. But first, make sure you like... Oh, by the way, hit the like button and the subscribe. Hit the big subscribe button as well. It's free. It costs you nothing to subscribe. Keep the channel growing so I feel loved and keep putting content out for you. Cheers, boys. I could have done that. I could have done it myself, couldn't I? I could have said, please, like and subscribe, like begging, but... whatever, I don't know what sort of day it is. You can tell it's Halloween, things are coming out of my telly and talking to me. But anyway, let's jump in to what this news is. So Blizzard pushed new Classic Season of Mastery data to a different branch, which isn't currently live on the beta. In this data, there's new IDs for bonus experience, a spell called Relentless Dead. Spoiler alert, pretty sure this is going to be something to do with mage boosting. New spells which look like support for hardcore and possibly changes to the Diamond Flask. So looking over these spell IDs really quick, so we've got a bonus experience spell ID, well there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. We've got lots of burst of experience spell IDs as well. We've got Relentless Dead, which cannot be slowed below 100% of normal speed and immune to snare and immune to root effects is another spell ID around Relentless Dead. We've got Soul of Iron, which doesn't really tell you a great deal. We've got Survivor of the Flames, Never Known Defeat, Thousand Blades, and then the changes to Diamond Flask. So looking at the spell IDs for the XP bits first, this is news on Wowhead, by the way, which I'll put a link to the actual article in the description so you can go and check it out for yourself. But what they're actually saying is, looking at the data, the bonus experience and burst of experience seem to be spell IDs related to dungeon quests and elite quests. It is unclear if these are tradable items or how these will interact with players. If implemented, Relentless Dead seems to be an enemy spell ID and could be Blizzard's solution for dealing with mage boosting. If enemies inside dungeons can't be slowed or rooted, kiting with Blizzard might not be as easy to accomplish as it was in the past. Blizzard specifically mentioned they was looking at mage boosting for Classic Season of Mastery. So my view on this is that basically what they're looking at doing, if this is correct, is more or less how I said on a video recently how it should be done. Let me see if I can dig that out, actually. Existence. Either through making mobs who haven't managed to get a physical swing on a target for, say, 30 seconds, they gain a movement speed buff, or they become immune to slows and stuns and crowd controls, etc. So what I was saying basically was, if a mob doesn't physically hit a person for X amount of seconds, then they would gain a buff, such as Relentless Dead. The fact that it's called Relentless Dead, to me, I don't know, there's got to be some meaning behind how that's going to interact. So if we think of Relentless Dead, then, you know, if X amount of mobs die on the first pull, for example, let's say a mage kills 10 to 12 mobs in at once for their first pull, then maybe the dungeon triggers this. It's like, oh wait, someone's abusing, AoE mechanics, and then everything else gains the buff. This means if they can only do one pull, then they've got to go out and reset, and then they go back in and do it again. This could alleviate it, maybe, I don't know. It's just trying to interpret what the Relentless Dead means. To me, it means something got to die before Relentless Dead can be activated, because otherwise, where's the name come from? It almost says that something's got to die for this to take place. Now, I know a lot of people do Mara 1 pulls and stuff like that, so I don't know how that would work. I think the best way would be, like I said, if mobs are being kited and they've not physically got a swing on a mob for X amount of seconds, then they all become immune to CC, to roots, to slows. That would more or less eliminate mage boosting, I would say. As for the XP side of things, they're saying that it seems to be the spell IDs are related to dungeon quests and elite quests. Now, I can't really think of anything remotely useful around this, if I'm completely honest with you. Like, if you do an elite quest, you get an item that increases XP by 20% extra on top of everything else or something like that. I don't know. I don't really see the point. So I don't want to start hazarding guesses on what this could be. If I'm honest, because there's no bonus XP from killing mobs, there's only bonus XP from quests themselves, maybe it's to entice people into dungeons. Again, purely just a guess. You can flame me in the comments and say, well, no, that doesn't make sense. But really, it don't make sense to go and do dungeons when you're only getting standard XP over doing quests, where currently you're getting 40%, which we know is going to go up, I would imagine. It does mean there's less reason to go and do dungeons. So maybe inside dungeons, these sort of things are active depending on the level of the dungeon. So Deadmines might have one of these spell IDs. Just a guess, I don't know how these spell IDs will activate, whether they're activated, as in a physical item, or the spell ID could be linked to a buff. So in Deadmines, all kills get 20% extra XP. In Scottejaye, they get 25%. In Scarlet Monastery, they get 30%, so on and so forth. So the XP gain's bigger the further through the dungeons you get. Pure guesswork. I've got no facts, no evidence, no nothing to get behind this, but just looking at how they're managing all of these mechanics and the fact that they are only increasing quest XP, it will draw people away from doing dungeons because it's going to be a lot slower. There'll be no need to do dungeons when leveling. So these sort of buffs or spell IDs, whatever you want to call them, I think would tie nicely into dungeon quests or dungeon mob, basically grinding, if you like. And added on top, that you can't physically have a mage going in and AoE and everything anyway, you physically do need a group of at least a few people. It could work. And then when we look at the hardcore support, so Soul of Iron, Survivor of Flames, Never Known Defeat, and Thousand Blades. So these are all spell IDs that seem very interesting. So Wowhead recently covered community questions and suggestions regarding Classic Season of Mastery, and one of the most talked about topics was the inclusion of a hardcore mode. In the World of Warcraft's history, there has been a community game mode known as Iron Man, which was similar to hardcore. Could this be Blizzard's way of providing hardcore support? I mean, fair play, they covered it recently, but I mean, hardcore's been around for ages now. We all know the guys that sort of have been doing it from the start. So Kargos, Grays, Winky, there's so many names, Tactics. I could sit and reel them all off, but you know the guys that we're talking about. So I think it would be great to get hardcore support in the game, and I've even made a hardcore video fairly recently talking about why it should be in the game and how it could be done potentially. With how to sort of eliminate the chance of cheating. I don't want to say cheating, but you know what I mean. Physical toggle sliders that you can put on when you're creating your character, stopping you from doing certain things, such as using your auction house or doing, trading or whatever, and just one life and then you're dead. My only concern, and the only thing I would be worried about, is obviously if you do DC at the moment, you can contest it and say, look, my internet went, what can I do? Obviously on an official capacity, that's not going to be the case, but we know from Diablo, that unlucky. If you DC, something happens and your character dies, unlucky, it's done. To speculate over some of the spell IDs here, so Soul of Iron, Survivor of the Flames, Never Known Defeat, and Thousand Blades. I think Never Known Defeat sort of makes sense to just be a bulk standard. You get to 60, and then that's what you get. But could it be tied to a title? I don't, again, I'm speculating here, but the different spell IDs, unless they are physically sort of tied, the spell IDs are tied to what sort of hardcore character you do. So Never Known Defeat is purely you die, your character's deleted, that's it. A Soul of Iron, for example, is quite literally, you can't equip gear, something like that, an Iron Man challenge, which there was a lot more to it than just that. You couldn't wear gear, you couldn't use talents, loads of crazy stuff. Maybe that's the lines that's going down. Thousand Blades, I don't know, we could sit and speculate, but to me it sounds like 4 almost different tailored rule sets that apply to that character. But who knows, it'd be great to get one of those titles. If they implemented them as titles, I'd be all over that. And then I think nerfing the Diamond Flask, which if you don't know, we'll quickly read through it, but lastly, Diamond Flask as an entirely new spell ID, and this is likely to address the issue with warriors stacking plus healing gear. Warriors could put on healing gear, use a Diamond Flask, and then swap their gear before pulling a boss. The way it worked in original classic, Diamond Flask would snapshot the bonus healing and apply a powerful healing over time effect, to which some point, the warrior could top healing on bosses, which we know is completely broken and definitely would need, well, when I say definitely would need changing, it's a cheesy little thing, whether it was in or not wouldn't bother me at all, but, it's just something else that's been sort of data mined to having been changed. So look, let me know your thoughts on this anyway, and because I am genuinely interested. I'm following Season of Mastery very closely. I'm an open book. I'm always completely honest on videos, and I don't even know if I'm going to play Season of Mastery myself yet. I'm 100% going to follow it through, see what happens, but it still needs a lot more significant changes for me to probably be swayed in that direction with everything else that's going on around sort of obviously a white main launch. If you don't know, we're going to be playing a Wrath of the Lich King fresh server soon, and it's going to be falling around the same time, I would expect, or shortly after, we're probably going to see Season of Mastery launch, but it would need some much more bigger, braver changes for me to get involved anyway. What do you think? Oh, I don't even want to talk to him anymore, forget it. But anyway, take it easy, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.